We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
We're back with Liberty Nation's editor-in-chief, Lisa K. Donner. Earlier in the show, we tackled a politician on the rise, but now let's look the opposite direction, to a Chicago leader on her way out. The almost unthinkable happened in the Windy City with Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who will be out on her ear come April, as we say on this side of the Atlantic. Lisa, thanks for being back with us. And what happened to this darling of the left?
Well, not a lot of violins are playing over on the right, but I will say that, we don't necessarily know if choices 2, 3, and 4 are a whole lot better. But as for Lori Lightfoot, I think she just went down with the crime rates. They recorded 695 murders in 2022, 804 in 2021. It's bad stuff going on in Chicago.
Yeah, and Jussie Smollett, he got attacked in Chicago too, right?
Don't start now.
Oh.
I don't know if the listener can sense your sarcasm.
So, she was fairly gracious in defeat, I think, to start with. But then she went off on a little bit of a tangent and spoiled it all by blaming her loss on racism. Now, I have a quote for you, and I think I have this right. She says that the reason she didn't advance to the April runoff, she came third, obviously, is because, here's the quote, "I'm a black woman in America, of course." Now, Lisa, my question for you, what was she in 2019 when she won?
Yeah, it's the door swings both ways, and the electorate can be fickle. And I'm not sure she was voted in because she was a black woman, and I'm not sure she was voted out because she's a black woman.
Yeah, did the people who voted for a black woman in America, of course, in 2019, did they all up and leave Chicago and move to Florida?
Yeah, I just think that her record was what did her in. And sometimes it's hard to look at that in defeat, to take responsibility for the fact that your actions have cost you an election, or maybe in her case, her non-actions. I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's interesting that you bring up the word responsibility, because to me, it seems that's what she was avoiding through most of her 4 years in office. Obviously, she took the job in Chicago, and we know Chicago has been a problem city for a good long time, since Mayor Daley and before. But she refused to accept that she had in her power through policies ways to either ameliorate the issues at hand or to, in some cases, even help. But no, she opted for the opposite. She was fully behind the defund the police movement when crime was running rampant. And I think that there's not really any way that she can look back on her record and say, you know what, I did something good for this city. What do you think?
And I do think it goes beyond identity politics. I think the American electorate doesn't care about somebody's skin color, doesn't care about whether they're a gay woman. I think they care about whether they can get to the grocery store and back without getting shot. I think they care about their daughter who works in a retail store. Is she going to get shot because she's just working in a downtown retail store? I think they're worried about their sons walking the streets and getting shot. Chicago has gotten to be a very, very violent place again.
It really has. Now, obviously, Mayor Lightfoot, she's not advanced to the April 4th runoff, but the two gentlemen that have, both obviously still Democrats. It's Chicago. What else is it going to be?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got Paul Vallis and you've got Brandon Johnson.
Now, the former there, he has a very strong, at least openly strong attitude, positive attitude towards policing. And he hasn't been behind the defund the police movement. He has the support of, I believe, the local police there. Whereas the second candidate, I think I have his day one policy correct here. He is going to promote 200 officers to detective status, but not increase the number of police and perhaps even cut the number of police.
So just to be clear for our listeners, first in line was Paul Vallis. I don't know if you pronounce it Vallis or Vias. He's the one that the Fraternal Order of Police, and that's the big police union, endorsed. Second in line, I keep wanting to say third, second in line is Brandon Johnson. He's the one who says he's expanding the number of detectives by promoting 200 officers, police officers.
And do you think, regardless of which one gets in, do you think it will be business as usual in Chicago?
Well, that's really the $64,000 question, as they say. It's still all one party rule there. And I hate to say yes, because you look at Eric Adams in New York, he was going to be kind of the alternative. And it doesn't look so much like that's happening. Yeah, I'm not an expert on New York, but.
I think that's a very keen distinction to make, because in the run-up to the election for New York mayor, Eric Adams trod very hard. He pushed very hard his associations with the police force, former police officer, and his tough-on-crime attitude. And a lot of people believed that at the time. A lot of people, including me, I actually fell for it, and I thought, wow, this is going to be a good thing for New York, because it's a Democrat that's tough on crime. Well, that's a good mix, right? I mean, it's really showing that Democrats can try and be tough on crime. So it's not just a one-party issue. But then we look at it a little while down the line, and it's pretty much business as usual. Things aren't getting any better. And I wonder if what we see built up from these politicians is not really their actual attitudes or their beliefs on things, but more a carefully crafted veneer that will help them get elected in places that are struggling with genuine issues, but B, something that the media can sell to the public. It's a prepackaged clone of the individual that can be sold to the public.
Well, look, this is what happened in Pennsylvania with the Senate race. I mean, John Fetterman was put in office even though he had serious, and still has, health issues, mental health issues, physical health issues. But, he won the senatorial race, and that spoke volumes. So I think sometimes we become so divisive that we're not looking at people. We're just looking at platform. If you've got a blue D next to your name, I'm going to vote for you, or I'm not going to vote for you, that kind of thing.
As you know, Lisa, any letters after the name nowadays, LGBTQ, D, R, anyone you like, it all makes a difference in American politics. Thanks for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you, Mark.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5. Produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone. Hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner. Joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors. Deconstructing leftist narratives. Debating the hot topics. And remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe space.
You only did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5.